This is the new Just5 J510. In contrast to the J509, this model is roughly about the same size, roughly about the same thickness. However, they've managed to get a bigger screen. It is now a color screen. They've done some rearranging here. On the top, on the left-hand side here, you can see a headphone jack, and I must point out that the headphone jack is recessed, unfortunately. Let me see if I can get this to focus again. Come on. There we go. But no, it is the headphone jack is recessed. On the top right here is a light, and in the middle is a lanyard for a strap. If you're familiar with the old J509, we still have the nice big SOS button. However, it can be configured to do multiple things. Volume control here on the left-hand side, and if you're familiar with the J509, you'll notice that the FM radio switch has been replaced by a button that you must press and hold. On the front, the keys are a little bit flatter than the old one. There's no depression to tell which key is which per se. However, the tactile divisions are still very discernible, and you can feel the various numbers. Above the number 2 is a long rectangular key. This is your up and down key. To the left of that is your OK, and then to the right of that is your cancel, which also doubles as your power switch. On the bottom here happens to be my favorite feature of this phone, and that is the micro USB charging utility. And the beautiful part about that is, if you have a computer, you can easily plug your phone into the computer and it'll charge without a problem whatsoever. So let's power it up and see what's new with the software. Now, it might be a little hard to see. Let me see if there's any way I can get this to focus a little better. Hang on. So, up here in the upper right, under the Just5 logo, is a collection of 4 squares. Those 4 squares are your battery level. 4 squares is 100%, 3 squares 75%, 2 at 50, 1 at 25, and if you have no squares at all, then you have to charge your battery. I'd recommend plugging it in once it is down to 1 square. Over here on the left, you have this sort of box within a box within a box theme going on here. That is your signal strength. 3 boxes, which equate to a nice big square, is full reception. Medium-sized square is so-so. White, small square is weak, and if that square becomes red, then you don't have reception at all. On the main screen is your time. You can have it in 24 or 12-hour time, and I'll show you that in just a moment, along with your carrier information. If we press the up arrow, this brings us to our main menu, which has our messages, calls, phone book. Organizer's a new one. Let's go in here real quick. The alarm clock, which you can see there at the top, I just moved down so you can see a little easier. The alarm clock and calculator are carryovers from the old J509, but the calendar's new. This is a very basic calendar. It's not like a super complex date book that you might find on a it's not a super complex date book that you might find on a smartphone. So let's incidentally, to get out of anything, you push the X, and to go into something, you see where there's a little white check here. You push OK, and to get out, you push the X. So let's continue down. So beyond the calendar, we have an FM radio. Same FM radio as the other, phone. Just Trip is interesting. Just Trip is a notepad where you can create basically driving directions. So if we say view, we can view a little trip that I composed. See, turn left at the restaurant to get to the airport. Now, to add, we could go back into Just Trip. I'm sorry, we'll go into the trip. We'll say edit. So we'll say trip name or the trip itself. So we'll edit the trip itself and say, oops, aha. That's another caveat you must be aware of, and I'm still getting used to that. You need to be sure what keyboard you're in. As you can see up here on the top left, you can see a little symbol there. Kind of looks like a Google Maps icon, pointer icon thingy. To change that, you push 1. Oh, I'm sorry, you push, let me see. I'm sorry, you push pound. You pushed 1 on the old phone to cycle between keyboards, but on this one you have to push pound. So we'll go ahead and switch to alphanumeric, or ABC. So if and 0 is space. If you reach and I do apologize if this screen is hard to see. Unfortunately, there's no brightness control on the phone. It's take it or leave it. If I tilt it like this, maybe it'll be easier to see. If you reach so let's switch our keyboard. So we'll hit pound and go back to the symbols. And now, if we push 1 to get into our symbol list, or I'm sorry, start to get into the symbol list. Having both, I must tell you, if you have the older J509, it will take a little bit of getting used to for the new one, if you decide to go ahead with it. So if you get to the, we'll say, bus terminal, oops. That's another thing. You have to remember, like I said, you have to remember what keyboard you are on. And if you don't use this very often, it can be confusing. There we go. You went too far, let's say. Okay. And then to seal it up, we'll hit the OK button and it says done. I must say that when I first saw this feature, I had to get the manual out to take a look because I was thinking trip, okay, because this phone that I'm recording this on, my Galaxy Note 2, is my daily driver. So I was thinking, okay, they've put GPS in here. But I can rest assure you, for those of you that are a bit anxious about that, that they have not put GPS in the phone. Hand counter is another interesting little app. As you can see here, we have 0. And if I push OK, 1, 2, 3, it's basically a nice way to keep inventory of, I would say, larger items. And then you X to reset to 0. Games. This is another interesting little tidbit. F1 Race is the only game available for now. And this is the other reason I like the USB charging on the device, because I could see this being opened up for software development. we'll see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and hit Start Game. Oh, before I do, another thing that might be confusing is how do you control your character? Because you're essentially controlling a car in 3-lane traffic. Well, think of it like this. If you feel for the 5 and you feel a dot on the 5, that is the center of what is essentially a cross control pad, a plus pad, kind of like you'd find on the old Game Boys or some such. 2 is up, 6 is right, 8 is down, and 4 is left. So let's see what happens. Watch me lose. Now, I've played this game quite a few times, so I'm used to it, but I guarantee you, if you have low vision, and it's hard for you to see, this may not be the game for you, because it is difficult to see. Those little characters are tiny, and as you can see, I rammed into a red car or something. You can take a look here, see best grades. Score is 12, and that's basically all it does. It doesn't share anything on Facebook. This is a very basic, very simple little phone. And then you've got your help, and it tells you how you can play the game. So let's go back. Let's see here. And after games, that's it. So that's all for the organizer. Let's go into settings, because there are a few new things here too. Phone settings, time and date, language, this is new. Schedule power down. What this does is this allows you to tell the phone what time you want the phone to power off. So it will power off by itself and then keep track internally and power back on. So if I say I want to power it off at 0000 hours, midnight, because I'm about to go to bed, then I have to be up at 0600 for work. Well, what will happen then is the phone will shut down automatically at midnight and then re-engage at 6 a.m. Nice little feature if you want to conserve power. Okay, I can't okay this to get out of it because it says conflict, time between on and off is basically too short. So let's get out of here. Sound, all of the ringtones have been changed. You notice that there's no beep tone as I push on the keys like there was with the old one, and that's because I've got it set to speaking keypad. But first of all, let's take a look. So if we go to incoming call, that's my ringtone, and you can scroll up and down through these. We'll leave it there because I like it on that one. Your alarm. Those are the only alarm sounds you have, by the way. I must say that I love the ringtones with this new phone because they're very, very cosmic, they remind me of outer space, which I think is really cool. More modern design, more modern sounds. Message, same deal. Oops. Come on. Keypad, as I said, I've got it set for speaking keypad. There we go. So we'll click speaking keypad again. Keep it there. So alert type, you can have it on ring, vibrating only, or vibrate and ring. Volume, you can either have your ringtone or your keytone volume independently set. and then you just use the up and down arrow keys to select. Alternatively, you can also set that volume control through the side volume keys here. If you push down, it takes you to your contact list, which this is my personal SIM that's in here. It's not a demo SIM. It's not a review or anything. This is my personal SIM card that's in here, so I don't want to end up exposing my friend's contact information. This phone is unlocked, quad band. It will work on AT&T, T-Mobile, Just5. If you go to their website, just5.com, you will see that there's a deal that they have going on with Red Pocket Mobile, who I personally have never heard of until recently, but I think they use the AT&T Spectrum. It's interesting. They've got some good deals there. You might want to check them out. Anywho, let's see. So messages, phone book, organizer, and settings. That's pretty much it. There's not too much that's new to this phone compared to the other. Call quality is, from what I've noticed, it is better. Although I should say that if you're not familiar with the GSM phone, you will notice a hiss of sorts on the other line, and that's characteristic of all GSM handsets, unfortunately. That's not just the Just5. At least in my experience, that's been the story. So, I personally love this phone. I would rate it an absolute 10 out of 10. Any suggestions for future improvement? If you ask me, they lie right here with the micro USB port. If this phone has the ability to update its software, maybe add some new games. One more thing I forgot to point out before we close out. One of my subscribers had said that they were working on a phone that was completely accessible to people who are totally blind. This is not it, unfortunately. So if I push a number here.
5555121.
Whoops.
2.
So you can see the print it's big enough, but I'm really curious about the font, how well some people are going to be able to see this. And also I think that some items here are not big enough for some people. Some people it'd be fine, but I would say if you want to keep the font the same, we definitely need a feature with a completely accessible vocal menu system. Speaking keypad is not going to be enough for a lot of people. So I think adding that in, and again, like I said, micro USB, we could do it through a software update. But no, other than those shortcomings, I would say this phone is definitely a keeper. Just5.com, Just5, if you are interested. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to the people at Just5, Alex especially, for sending this out to me to take a look at. And you guys have got a winner on your hands. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.